What if the person you think is cold, controlling, and impossibly blunt is actually the one who cares the most about protecting people from chaos? What if the intimidating one in the room is just someone who hates wasting time and wants to get everyone to the finish line faster? And what if the quiet, calculating look on their face isn't arrogance, but the look of someone running 1,000 mental simulations to make sure the next choice doesn't hurt anyone? That's the paradox of the INTJ 8W7. They look like a storm. They feel like a vault. They move like a tactician. But underneath the iron spine and sharp angles, there's a fiercely loyal protector who would rather carry the weight alone than ask you to lift a finger. Today, we're pulling back the curtain. This is why INTJ 8W7s are misunderstood, and how to finally see them clearly. Let's get something straight from the start. INTJ 8W7s aren't typical villains or secret overlords plotting world domination. They're vision plus voltage. The INTJ engine is driven by introverted intuition and extroverted thinking, INTJ. That gives them a long-range radar and a builder's toolkit. They spot patterns before you see the dots. They assemble structures while others are still reading the instructions. Now add Enneagram 8 with a 7 wing. That's power plus energy. The 8 brings backbone, boundaries, and a will to protect. The 7 wing adds momentum, appetite, and optimism for what's possible. Put them together and you get a strategic hurricane, a person who wants results, refuses to be controlled, and has enough raw drive to turn a blueprint into a skyline. So why the bad press? Because most people judge intent by tone. INTJ 8W7s often sound decisive even when they're being gentle. They cut fluff because fluff wastes time. They ask hard questions because weak plans break under pressure. When they say, "That won't work, here's why," the room hears criticism. What they're actually offering is insurance against the future. Remember, NE forecasts. TE executes. Their focus is not on feelings first, it's on outcomes that keep people safe. Paradoxically, what comes off as hard is often one of the deepest forms of care. The kind that prevents the fire instead of sending flowers afterward. Another reason INTJ 8W7s get misunderstood is the calm face during emotional storms. When others expect visible empathy, these types go quiet, scan data, and choose the most stabilizing move. That can read as cold. It's not. It's containment. Many INTJ 8W7s fear that if they open the dam, they won't be able to close it quickly enough to keep the mission intact. So they do something most people don't. They metabolize emotion privately, then return with a fix. If you want the visible sympathy speech, you might miss it. If you want the bridge out of the flood, it's already being built. Let's talk about control, because this is the label INTJ 8W7s can't escape. Are they controlling? Sometimes. But usually not for the reason you think. The 8 core hates being controlled because they've seen what happens when power is in the wrong hands. The 7 wing wants freedom to move, test, and pivot fast. The INTJ functions want the plan to be coherent. Put that together and you get someone who tries to control the variables, not the people. They prefer clear roles, clean lines, and direct accountability. If they micromanage, it's often because they don't trust the system yet. Give them competence, honesty, and follow-through, and watch how quickly they loosen the reins. Here's a classic misunderstanding. They're arrogant. Often, what you're seeing is certainty, not superiority. NE gives the feeling of, "I've already walked this road," while TE says, "Here are the steps." That combination compresses time. They can move from possibility to decision in minutes while others are still brainstorming. That speed can look like ego. The truth? Many INTJ 8W7s hold themselves to harsher standards than anyone else. They'll redo a project at 2 a.m. without telling you just to protect the team's name. Their core fear isn't, "I might be wrong," It's, people will get hurt if I hesitate. On the outside, the 7 wing brings spark. It's the part of them that loves novelty, calculated risk, and the thrill of making something from nothing. The misunderstanding here is that people confuse their appetite for challenge with recklessness. It isn't. It's strategic audacity. INTJ 8W7s enjoy hard problems because hard problems deserve strong solutions. They'll bet on themselves, but they'll hedge the risk. They'll expand, but they'll build moats. They're not chasing chaos, they're hunting mastery. Let's walk into the workplace. The INTJ 8W7 often becomes the de facto leader, even when they didn't ask for it. Why? Because decisiveness is a vacuum, and they fill it. When a meeting spirals, they cut the noise. Here are the 3 paths. Here are the costs. Here's my pick. That clarity can offend people who equate consensus with care. It's not that INTJ 8W7s hate consensus. They hate drift. If everyone's opinion makes the plan stronger, they'll invite it. If everyone's opinion stalls the mission, they'll end it. Judge them by the results. Deadlines met, fires prevented, promises kept. Feedback is another minefield. INTJ 8W7s often deliver it like a surgeon, clean, precise, no lingering. They think that's respectful. I won't waste your time, and I won't sugarcoat what blocks your growth. Some hear it as harshness. But listen between the lines. You won't get that level of direct, well-reasoned critique from someone who doesn't believe you're capable. With them, high standards are a compliment. If they didn't care, they'd go silent and move on. Now friendships. People often assume INTJ 8W7s are loners by design. They do enjoy solitude, it's where Ni synthesizes and Te rebuilds. But the deeper truth is they're picky because loyalty is sacred. They've learned that many relationships demand performance rather than honesty, and they refuse to trade truth for approval. So they keep a small circle, often filled with people who are either skilled, resilient, or allergic to drama. If you make it into that circle, you have a guardian. They'll defend your name in rooms you'll never enter. They'll tell you the truth when it's hard, then go to war for you when you need it most. Romance is where the misunderstandings can sting. The stereotype says an INTJ 8W7 is emotionally unavailable. Actually, they're emotionally intentional. They don't perform affection on command, they demonstrate it through structure, protection, and long-term investment. They'll remember your goals, build the plan, remove the obstacles, and show up when it counts. They won't flood you with constant reassurance, but they'll give you something rarer: stability. If you want sweet nothings, they can learn. If you want a foundation, they'll pour it thick. So how do you connect with an INTJ 8W7? Respect their time. Be direct. Bring competence to the table. If you disagree, argue with ideas, not egos. They love strong minds and clean logic. They respect people who can say, "You're wrong, and here's the data." They're allergic to passive aggressiveness because it wastes cycles that could go into solving the actual problem. And if you need emotional presence, ask for the specific version you want. Can you listen for 5 minutes without fixing? You'll see a surprising response. They don't resist emotions, they resist unstructured, never-ending spirals that hijack the mission. Give them parameters, and you'll get presence. Let's zoom into their interior world. Underneath Te's steel and Ni's quiet certainty sits Phi, introverted feeling, the personal code. It may not be loud, but it is unbreakable. This is the part of the INTJ 8W7 that makes unethical shortcuts a hard no, even if no one would ever know. It's the reason they'll walk away from a lucrative opportunity if the contract smells wrong. And it's the heartbeat behind their protective stance. The 8 says, "No one bullies my people." Phi adds, "Because integrity matters more than applause. If you only notice their bark, you'll miss that their moral compass is set to true north." When do they get truly misunderstood? During conflict. The 8 core meets pressure with pressure. The 7 wing adds speed. Tay locks onto the objective and cuts everything non-essential. In those moments, subtlety dies. They can bulldoze. They can scorch. They can look like they don't care about feelings at all. But most INTJ 8W7s regret collateral damage. After the dust settles, they'll review the tape and tighten their own behavior, new rules, new checks, new habits. They grow by adding warmth without losing edge, by inviting feedback without surrendering vision. Burnout is a hidden danger. Because they can carry so much, others let them. Because they hate being controlled, they don't ask for help. Because they move fast, the world piles more on. The 7 wing pushes one more challenge, and the 8 says, we'll handle it. Then one day the system redlines. How do you spot it? They start to despise interruptions, tolerate only a team, and treat every small mistake like a betrayal. The fix isn't a vacation, it's restructuring the load. Give them a worthy lieutenant. Give them quiet hours. Remind them that real control isn't touching every lever, it's designing a machine that runs without constant supervision. Let's dismantle a few myths quickly. They're power hungry. No, most INTJ 8W7s are responsibility hungry. They want authority to ensure outcomes. If someone else can deliver consistent results with integrity, they're happy to stand down. They don't feel. They feel deeply, but prefer to act on values rather than soak in vibes. They can't apologize. They can and do, when the apology serves truth and rebuilds trust. But an empty apology to make discomfort go away? That's not their language. Offer them a path to repair, and you'll see real ownership. What about creativity? People underestimate how inventive INTJ 8W7s are. Ni generates unconventional angles, 7 feeds curiosity, Tay builds working prototypes. They might not doodle in a sketchbook, but give them a messy problem and they'll architect a solution elegant enough to make an engineer grin. They love constraints because constraints sharpen vision. Tell them it's impossible, and they'll smirk, disappear for a week, and come back with a draft that moves the goalposts. Communication tips help a lot with misunderstandings. If you're an INTJ 8W7 watching this, try narrating your intent before you swing the sword. I'm about to be direct because I want this to succeed. That one sentence softens impact without diluting truth. When you give feedback, add the why, here's the standard, here's what's at risk, here's the step that fixes it. And when someone brings you emotion, do a quick translation. Do you want solutions or support? You'll still be you, decisive, efficient, but you'll become easier to read. If you love or lead an INTJ 8W7, here's how to meet them halfway. Bring clarity. What's the outcome? By when? What does done look like? Don't bury the lead. Put the ask up front, then give the context. If you need change, show the leverage points. If you challenge them, make it a contest of ideas, not a tug of war over status. And when they win, let them. They aren't keeping score against you, they're keeping score against entropy. Let's address the fear factor. Yes, INTJ 8W7s can be intimidating. That's often the armor they learn to wear. Many of them were the kid who had to grow up fast, the teen who wouldn't bow to unfair authority, the adult who learned that nice isn't always safe. They cultivated a presence that says, don't push me. But underneath, most of them want what everyone wants. A few people they can trust completely, a mission big enough to deserve their life, and the freedom to build without petty politics. Treat them like a human, not a headline. You'll be surprised how quickly the armor relaxes. Here's the gift of the INTJ 8W7 when they're healthy. They become a fortress with open doors. They protect without smothering. They decide without dismissing. They carry weight, but they teach others to lift. They balance the fire of the 8 with the light of the 7 and the foresight of NE. They won't always hug you through the crisis, but they'll set up the generator, route the supplies, and make sure tomorrow happens on schedule. We need that. We need people who don't just feel the storm, they steer ships through it. Growth for the INTJ 8W7 means permission to be human. It means trusting that sharing a burden isn't surrender, it's scale. It means learning the language of reassurance, not because they need it, but because the people they love do. It means letting the 7 wing play without turning every hobby into a conquest. And it means remembering that the strongest systems have shock absorbers. Add margin. Add rest. Add a friend who can say, "You're pushing too hard," and be heard. If you're an INTJ 8W7, here's your quiet encouragement. You don't have to earn the right to care out loud. Your love is not less valuable because it speaks in blueprints rather than poems. You're not too much for wanting competence, speed, and clarity. You're a builder in a world that loves slogans. Keep building. But let people see the heart inside the architecture. Lift the visor sometimes. Say the thing you think they already know. I'm with you. You'll be stunned how far that one sentence travels. And to everyone who misread them, look again. Notice how they walk into chaos and create order. Notice how they take the hit so the team can move forward. Notice how their no protects the yes that matters. You don't have to love their style to benefit from their presence. You just have to understand the translation. Their bluntness is care, their speed is protection, their standards are love spelled differently. So the next time you meet an INTJ 8W7 and your first instinct is to label them as harsh, pause. Ask what they're protecting. Ask what future they're trying to secure. Ask what failure they're quietly preventing. You might discover that the scariest person in the room is the safest place to stand. And that the misunderstood titan you avoided is exactly the ally you need when everything's on the line. If this helped you see the INTJ 8W7 in a new light, or helped you see yourself, stick around. We're going deeper on the rare blends next, how each Enneagram overlay changes the INTJ signature, how to lead them, love them, and partner with them, and how to harness their power without burning them out. Until then, protect your mission, guard your peace, and give the builders some room to build. They're not the storm. They're the lighthouse.